Benjamin Netanyahu said this in response to Trump. This is a historic day. It is rare to be able to speak of a new and genuine milestone in the glorious history of this city, yet today's pronouncement by President Trump is such an occasion. He also said this, listen, there are major moments. The Balfour Declaration, the founding of the state, Israel, and the liberation of Jerusalem. And Trump's announcement yesterday, he said, was one of them. One of those four. He said, I told him, this is Netanyahu, I told Trump, I told him, my friend, the president, you are going to make history. Yesterday, he made history. Outside of Israel and the Jewish people, there was one people throughout the world who were overjoyed. Who were they? Christians, the followers of Messiah, evangelical, born-again, Bible-believing Christians. An Orthodox rabbi in Israel even said, we must thank the Christians, believers in Jesus. Why? He said, without them, this never would have happened. But you see, this reveals much. It was like a global litmus test. The world goes crazy over what? Over Jerusalem. Over what specifically? That Jerusalem is simply the capital of the nation it's capital of. It's as if Trump went on television and said, I have an announcement to make. 2 + 2 = 4. And the world goes crazy. And the leaders of the world say, this is terrible. We condemn that statement. And people rise up to protest that 2 + 2 = 4. And leaders in the Middle East, we're going to have a summit because of this 2 + 2 = 4. They call for a violent uprising against this 2 + 2 = 4. Why? Because for years they've been saying 2 + 2 = 5. Remember the story we learned as children? The emperor who was convinced he had a new suit, but he had no clothes? And everybody goes along with it. Everybody goes along with it until one day a little child sees this naked guy and says, the emperor has no clothes. And the whole illusion crumbles. Well, that's what happened. The idea that Jerusalem wasn't the capital of Israel, or that Jerusalem had no capital, was the world believing that the emperor had clothes when he was naked. And Trump was like the little child who said, the emperor has no clothes. Jerusalem is Israel's capital. It exposed the lunacy of this politically correct falsehood. It exposed the cowardice of those who went along with it for all these years. It exposed the duplicity and hypocrisy of those leaders who had given Jerusalem lip service and voted for the resolution, but then condemned it when what they voted for was actually gone through. And for the Pope to come against it. And actually, there was a host of religious leaders, generally liberal, not saying he's but liberal, who are not born again, not going by the Bible, which reveals where they're at that they condemned it. Where are they really at? What Bible are you reading? Or even believing the falsehood of replacement theology, that the church replaced Israel. It's a real drag when reality doesn't cooperate with your doctrine. For the world to vote against Jerusalem the week before, and then for some of them to, it's also the Philippines is also considering moving its embassy to Jerusalem. That also reveals something too. People are crazy, and they tend to follow the herd, rather than simply do what's right, regardless of what people are doing. It doesn't matter. Do what's right, even if the world's against you. And for some of the leaders of the Arabic or Islamic world to call for violence because Jerusalem was simply recognized speaks volumes. It's even a litmus test of our culture. On late-night television, which has deteriorated into a festival of hatred against the president. Deteriorated. They actually mocked the president's speech on Jerusalem, came against it. I mean, they have no idea what they're doing. It reveals light and dark, reveals the empty, amoral, superficial nature of what they do. And the fact that the one people who rejoiced over Jerusalem throughout the earth with the Jewish people were born-again Christian followers of Messiah, that reveals a lot too. See, in the last days, the church and Israel must come together. You know, the world will go farther from God, but this will push them together, and that's exactly what happened. Over Jerusalem. For Jerusalem, it's not only the eternal capital of Israel, it's the sacred capital and city of your faith, of the church, of our salvation, of our redemption, of our future. We're all going to be, or if you're saved tonight, you're going to be in heaven. That's called the New Jerusalem. And it's in Jerusalem that the gospel and the church began 2,000 years ago. Both the origin and the destiny of the church are found in Jerusalem.
To find out how you can receive more of Jonathan's teachings, to receive special free gifts, or get in touch, go to hopeoftheworld.org or call toll-free 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's hopeoftheworld.org or call 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's 1-800-937-4821. You can also get more at Jonathan Cahn's Facebook page or write us direct at Hope of the World, Box 1111, Lodi, New Jersey 07644, USA. Hope of the World is dedicated to the goal of spreading God's Word and salvation to every land and people. We do this by spreading the Word throughout the world and sponsoring compassion projects to the most poor and needy around the earth. To get in touch or have a part in God's work, just write to Hope of the World, Box 1111, Lodi, New Jersey 07644, USA. Or go to hopeoftheworld.org or call 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's 1-800-937-4821.